Hey, good morning and welcome back to Introductory Psychology. Welcome to week 11 of our class. I'm recording this on a Monday morning. I actually I have two 8-week classes that started the other day. So I'm recording this a little bit sooner than I normally would. I'm just trying to stay ahead of myself and schedule now that I have two other classes to be working with at OSU OKC. So anyways, again, it doesn't really matter, I guess, when I record it. You see it on the same day. You see it when you see it. But anyways, just giving you some context. So welcome back. I can't believe we're already at week 11. I can't believe it's already almost November. But that's the school year. It just flies on by, especially when you're right in the thick of it. It feels like it just speeds on by, at least from my perspective. So let's see. Pretty easy video, not a whole lot to talk about this week. We're progressing along just fine, moving along through the schedule. No changes, no hiccups, anything like that. So pretty awesome. For this week, I want you to read chapter 10. I mean, we're going in order. We read chapter 9 last week. It would only make sense that we read chapter 10 this week. And it's on a fascinating topic that I believe, personality theory and measurement. So, the chapter will look at the theoretical perspectives of personality and then how do we measure it as a topic. Pretty straightforward in terms of the chapter. But this chapter does cover a lot of abstract topics, so maybe the material itself isn't quite as straightforward. There's going to be a lot of names that popped up that you've heard before, like Freud, Carl Rogers, some Maslow, maybe some B.F. Skinner. But there's going to be a lot of names that should sound familiar to you. So by the end of this chapter, you should have a pretty good idea about all the major personality theoretical perspectives, including psychoanalytic, which is we should associate with Freud. You're going to learn about, the metaphor of the iceberg and, how our personality is divided into three parts, the id, the ego, and the superego. And if you've heard that metaphor, the tip of the iceberg, meaning much is below the surface. And that's kind of what our personality is like, according to Freud. We have the tip of the iceberg, which is our personality, which we see. But then according to Freud, we have all of this stuff below the surface in our unconscious mind that's really driving the bus as far as behavior and mental processes are concerned. So you'll read about some more Freud. You'll also look at a more modern perspective on personality theory, which is personality traits. Maybe some of you have taken a personality test before where you've had your traits assessed. We're going to look at the big 5 traits, and those big 5, they actually spell a couple of different words if you play with them, either ocean or canoe. Let's just go with ocean. It's openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion. The A is agreeableness. Sorry, I almost slipped up there. It's agreeableness. How well do you get along with others? And then N is neuroticism. So how stable are your emotions? Are people who are more unstable in their emotions are going to score higher on this neuroticism scale. People who are kind of calm and even keel with their emotions are less likely to do so. We'll also look at the way that learning theory contributes to personality theory. So this includes Bandura, it includes B.F. Skinner, so some names that you should be familiar with by now. We're also going to look at humanistic existential personality theory, which is Maslow, which is Rogers, some of the more optimistic views on human personality. According to these guys, our personality is geared towards growth. We're all trying to achieve some sort of growth, personal growth. We'll look at sociocultural perspectives on personality, how the environment that you grow up in influences your personality. People who grow up in, maybe Alaska in the cold, grow up differently and have maybe a different experience and personality development experience than somebody who grows up on the equator. I mean, it's not just about geography. It could have to do with sociocultural factors. If you grow up in a house that's religious versus not religious, you grow up in a household with lots of siblings versus no siblings. I mean, there's all kinds of sociocultural factors that could easily influence who we become as a person, who our personality, who we are as individuals. And then finally, you're going to look at and be able to understand the different types of personality tests. I really want you to pay attention here because our discussion for this week is on the different types of tests. you're going to need to describe and give me examples of both projective, objective tests in personality, as well as self-disclosure on those personality tests. So, pay special attention to this area, because for this week's discussion, I want you to think about personality tests. And if you've taken one, talk about it in your discussion. I think some of us may have. There's ones you can take online that aren't quite as legit, but there are some that you can take at school, else in other settings that are legit. So if you have experience with that, I'd love to hear about it. Read chapter 10, read about personality. It is kind of abstract in the sense that personality is not something that, I could hook anybody up to a machine and measure your personality. I can't look at you and definitively say, oh yeah, you're this personality. It doesn't quite work out that way. Personality, we kind of infer the traits of personality and combine them, from the things, the behaviors and things we observe, the collection of those behaviors. But it's still a really interesting concept because, as far as like our genetics go and our brains and our chemistry and all that biological stuff goes, we are almost identical. I mean, we're like 99.99% identical. But what is that makes us all so unique? What is it that separates us from each other and makes us unique? Well, it's our personality. It's our sense of personality. It's that thing that makes you unique. And that's what, it comes from the more advanced parts of our brain, the cerebral cortex, the prefrontal cortex, more specifically, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, if you want a nice graduate school answer to impress your friends at parties or at the dinner table or whatever. So quick recap this week, read chapter 10 on personality. There is a discussion post that is due by Friday. Make sure you get your initial post by Wednesday and your peer responses by Friday. And there is a response paper this week. They're back. Only a couple more of those left for the semester, but there is a response paper this week. I wanted to switch gears. I didn't find a video that's like directly talking about personality theory. But I found a really neat TED Talk that I want to share with you all that's kind of tangentially related to personality. And it's called The Habits of Happiness. It's by a Buddhist monk named Matthew Ricard. I may be mispronouncing his name because I think he's French. But either way, I think there are certain personalities that are geared towards being happy. And there's some that maybe it's hard to be happy. So I wanted to share this video with you. So I want your response paper this week to be a reflection on watching this TED Talk, The Habits of Happiness. It's about 20 minutes long, but I think it's a really useful video that would be very enlightening for you to listen to and watch. So that'll be the response paper for this week. So it's up and ready for you to go. But I'll send that out. I'll post those directions as well. But just know it's due on Sunday. But that's about it for this week, week number 11. We are moving along really quick. I think we got another exam in a couple of weeks, so be aware of that. Other than that, I hope everyone is having a great week, and I'll see you all next week. Okay, take care. Be good. Bye.